Hey guys, and welcome to my monthly Q&A. Thank you for submitting your questions and sorry for the delay. I am excited to be here and be able to answer your questions. So let's get started. So as usual, the first question is always how is the market? So I'm going to actually reference a post that I posted not too long ago, which discusses interest rates. And I think that that's been a huge factor in how the market is doing right now. Because interest rates have been extremely low, I think a lot of buyers are noticing that it just makes more sense for them to purchase property. Their rents would be similar, if not less than, or if not more than what it would cost to basically own a home. I think that in addition to that, the fact that people have been cramped in their houses for so long and have been working from home, it has opened people's eyes up to their need for bigger houses or things like pools, extra bedrooms, and office space, yard space, different kinds of things that maybe they don't have right now. And so a lot of people are trying to upgrade or buy a house that's more suitable for the new needs based on the current situation. So pairing those things together, along with very low supply and very low inventory, has created this large demand and have kept prices really high. So the market is actually doing really well. So if you're a seller, this is probably a really great time to put your house on the market because you don't have a lot of competition. There's really not a lot out there and buyers are buying. And if you're a buyer, this is basically your opportunity to get in while interest rates are so low. You know, money is super cheap and it's a great opportunity for you to, get out there while money is this cheap. So I think that's the reason that the market's been faring very well, despite I think a lot of people predicting that there would be some sort of big change or shift, which we haven't really seen, at least not until now. I will continue to keep you posted on interest rates and prices, but right now prices are doing pretty well. Still seeing a lot of multiple offers, and that's what it is for right now. On to our next question. Where can I search for homes for either sale or rent? So, everyone has their favorite search engine like Zillow, Redfin, whatever you choose to search for homes for. I've obviously used those search engines before, but what I can tell you is that they're not always updated. And what I mean by that is a lot of times people will send me homes and say, hey, I want to see this house. Can you take me to go see it? And then I come to find out that it's already in escrow. I think the most accurate and best source of information is the MLS. And there are plenty of realtors that can help you get signed up for an automatic email, which will notify you the second that something's posted on the MLS. So that's much better than something that's syndicated to another website, because those usually take a little bit longer to be updated and sometimes they're not as accurate. So if you wanted to see if there's anything in particular that you want to see, feel free to reach out to me and I will be happy to connect you with an automatic email from the MLS, where you can see houses that fit your particular criteria the second that they're on the market. And then you'll also know if they're pending or under contract right away. For rentals, a lot of people post rentals on their own, so they don't post it through the MLS. So sometimes you'll find things that are not on the MLS, such as on apartments.com or Zillow or Craigslist, that they are basically posting for themselves and not through the MLS with a realtor. So sometimes for rentals, I would suggest to use a third-party website, but if you're looking to buy especially, or even if you just want to stay abreast of what's going on in the market, let me know and I'll be happy to set you up for an automatic email. I will not bother you. You will be able to search through the MLS on your own. And for our third question, how do you feel about Zillow? Okay, so I just mentioned a little bit of I just talked a little bit about Zillow and Redfin and some of these other third-party websites. So I'm not a huge fan of Zillow for several reasons, but one of them is that I think that not all the information is accurate. And you see that a lot with those estimates. Zillow has never seen your house. Zillow's never been into your house. They don't know the condition of your property. They don't know if there's a building behind it. They don't know how loud it is. There's a lot of things that Zillow doesn't know. So when Zillow gives you an estimate, and I always have sellers telling me, oh, I think my house is worth X, Y, Z. And I say, how did you come up with that? And their answer is always, well, Zillow has said my house is worth this much. And little does Zillow know that, you know, this property compared to the ones in the neighborhood is very much more inferior for whatever the reason is. And that's why I think you really need a professional. So I'm not a huge fan of these websites. I think that there's a lot of misleading information on these websites. But one thing that I can tell you is that I am aware of how many people use them. And I do know that the exposure on these websites is super important. And one thing that I've learned in my business, at least for me, is if you can't beat them, join them. So I personally have decided to go the route of advertising on Zillow. And the reason for that is because if you don't advertise on Zillow, a lot of times agents who do advertise on Zillow will show up on your listings. So they will make it seem as if someone else is the agent for your listing. And I think it's a little misleading for people who are looking online. But for me, it's important to be in control of my own listing so that when someone calls me, I know exactly what's going on with it. I know if it's under contract, I know how many offers I've had, I know what interest I've had, and my main prerogative is to sell my listing. So I've made it an effort to continuously advertise on Zillow and some of these other third-party websites so that I can make sure that the correct information is always out there and so that I'm always accessible for my listings. I think that Zillow can be a really great source and can be a really great tool, but I think that it needs to be taken with a grain of salt in addition to any of these other third-party platforms. So that's that. Thank you again for joining me this month. I will be sure to be here next month as well. If you have any questions in between now and then, feel free to email me or text me or PM me anytime. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you all are staying safe and healthy.